Bezzart.
Okay, looks like we have this left present. Is that your name? Could you hear us?
Yep.
Okay, what can we help you with?
Okay, so on Ammon Road and Iona, around there, do you guys know where that area is?
Yeah.
Okay. You have the Rocky Mountain Middle School, you have the Bonneville High School, you have Discovery Elementary, all kind of within that general area. I've noticed a lot of people, it is legal to pass on the shoulder, and there are a lot of kids that walk to and from school in that area. Now, I was reading you guys' traffic counts, and you said that you are going to eventually, based on the traffic count, decide whether you need to put a middle lane in, correct?
Just to bring you up to date, on the agenda today is the approval of a contract for the engineer to do the design to widen Iona and Ammon roads to 3
Well,
lanes.
just Iona Road, but
Iona
the
Road.
intersection of both 45th and Iona, or Ammon.
Okay, but we're also looking at Ammon Road.
Yes, we are.
To widen that north of the roundabout on Lincoln to 3 lanes to give a passing lane. We're
Okay.
gonna have with the school district because they built that parking lot so close to the intersection.
Right.
Be able to like that, but very aware of the problem, and we're getting the contracts to get the design going, and hopefully we can do something.
Might not be next year, depending on how long it's gonna take. Right now, the scope of work to do the engineering is about 12 months.
Okay, it'll probably be a year from this summer because we may have to acquire some right away. We'll be able to build that mostly in the existing right away, but and then the separate project on that will be the bridge. They're just to the east.
So both of those bridges are included in the scope of work for widening Iona.
Okay.
So both of them are in there, and that's one of the reasons why it's going to take a little bit longer to design.
Yeah, because looking at some type of a pedestrian path, to be able to cross the canal. We're quite familiar with that because my daughter and her husband, well, they just sold their house, but they lived out in Calico Sky. So, and it's becoming a problem.
So the other thing to note on this, I talked with the school district yesterday, and the pedestrian traffic has dropped quite a bit in that area, crossing over to get to Rocky Mountain Middle School, because those students now south of Iona are going to Black Canyon Middle School.
Oh,
and so the pedestrian traffic has dropped quite substantially according to the school district.
yeah, but I think we're still gonna need to look at some type of a path.
Yeah, it's still gonna be part of the project, but it's good to know that the volumes of pedestrians have dropped quite a bit.
Okay, does that help? Or?
No, not really. The pedestrian traffic actually is still rather large due to the influx of people. It looks like there are about between 20 and 22,000 people that have come here since 2010. So because of that, even with Black Canyon being filled, there are still quite an influx of students just in general. So it may have dropped, but it's still a fairly high volume of students that walk there, and that's fine. But what I'm asking, sorry, go ahead.
That will be in the plan, so.
Okay. So what I was asking is, in the meantime, it looks like there was an accident on September 23rd, 2021, where there was a foreign exchange student who was hit, right? And then there have been quite a few near misses that I've personally seen that obviously haven't gotten reported because it was a miss. But when people are passing on the shoulder consistently like that, especially during school hours, it's creating an unnecessary hazard. And so until we are able to get an expansion on Ammon Road, I was wondering if you would consider in the meantime looking at having a no passing zone on the shoulder, just like a mile within school limits. How does that sound to you?
I think there's a double line there and.
Well, she's talking about passing on the shoulder of the road.
Which you can only do if there's room on the road surface
Well,
designed
that's
for
only
passing.
supposedly.
Oh,
And so Kevin
That's-
Casper is on here and he can
Oh,
probably address that a
okay.
little
There
bit
we go.
about whether it's legal to pass on the shoulder or not.
I don't think it's legal to pass on the shoulder, but Kevin, are you on?
Yeah, I've just, this is Kevin Casper with the Sheriff's Office. Looking at the statute language right now, I don't have it pulled up yet, but basically, if you're still on the pavement, if you can safely pass the car without leaving the asphalt shoulder,
Yeah.
passing on the right is allowed under state law. I'm just trying to think of another area, Lance. Do we have anything else similarly situated where we have a no shoulder passing or no passing on the right anywhere in the county?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
30 or 40.
Okay, I'm not either aware of it at the moment. I'm not aware that we can't make signage and passing restrictions that way. I'm just not familiar with a place that we've actually done it that's similarly situated, guys.
Kevin, Commissioner Walker, I know that prior to the roundabout being finished at Lincoln and Ammon Road, regularly I'd see the sheriff's deputies enforcing the passing incorrectly on the right side at that intersection when people would put two wheels in the dirt and
Yeah. I was
drive
gonna
down the
say,
side.
they were in the dirt.
They'd enforce it and then it'd go away for a while, but
And I believe they're on the dirt on Iona Road too.
they're off, yeah, it's no travel.
They're off the
It's
edge.
no white.
Are they on Iona Road? She's talking about Ammon Road.
I think on both.
Are you talking about Iona Road or Ammon Road?
Ammon,
Which direction? Which
North
direction?
Ammon. So if you look at between Iona and I-26, that stretch right there.
And
Those subdivisions.
they're passing when someone stops to turn or when traffic stops to make a left turn, crossing
Correct.
traffic.
Yeah.
and pass.
Right.
Yeah, it's already covered by code, as Deputy Casper said it is.
I did.
And Kevin, you might want to go out there and look because I know the area she's talking about. And I think you can see the tracks around off of the pavement. Because they do it quite a lot.
Yeah.
I
And is
know
there,
that-
is there a particular intersection where you see it as the most cumbersome there? What's the primary point that you see as the bottleneck?
Okay, so there are a few bottlenecks. This is kind of diverting into a different topic, but you have a lot of excess traffic that is being congested between I-26, 49th. There's a stretch of 49th that goes between I-26 and Ammon Road that people kind of cut across. And there have actually been a lot of accidents because you've got I-26 and then literally not even 1,000 feet later, you have 45th or 49th. And so in that area, you have quite a bit of traffic buildup because people are trying to cross on 49th, but they're having to cross Ammon Road. And then you've got people that are coming in from I-26 that are trying to go down Ammon Road, turn onto it. And so that there's a lot of congestion right there. And then because you have the multiple different schools that are coming to and from, so between the hours, it seems like between the hours of about 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. and then from about 2:10 p.m. to around 4:30 p.m. or excuse me, yeah, about 4:15 p.m. There's just heavy congestion on Ammon from Iona all the way up to 26. I don't know if it's because of all the building or whatnot, but you will have traffic that's literally backed up all the way to First Street. That intersection of Iona and Ammon is and you guys have already mentioned this, it's an absolute kind of disaster zone. But because of that congestion at that four-way intersection and then the congestion between that kind of I-26 and 49th area right there on Ammon, those are the two areas where you see the most congestion, and then people live in all those suburbs in between, and so they're passing constantly on the shoulders to try and get to and from where they need to be. Does that make any sense?
I've seen that, and I think one of the reasons it gets congested is because I've seen your deputies out there a lot in that school zone from Iona North, because it's quite a length. So people drive real slow, which is a good thing. But I know the deputies are out there. Maybe you could just talk to them about ticketing people who pass.
So we do have a development plan. It was called Wookie Park on 49th. That was, if it does develop, it would turn 49th into a cul-de-sac there. But they haven't developed as far as.
Which
On
one's
the west
49?
side?
Where's that on the map?
So it's north from here. It's right there,
By Beach's Corner.
right, Beach's Corner, just south of there. So this intersection, that little triangle piece right there between, yeah, just south.
The one with
The
the
red
red, the
red
red
roof.
storage
The red
building,
roof. So that is 49th north, directly south of there.
Right here.
And if Wookie Park, which is south of 49th north, if that develops, that would turn that into a cul-de-sac and not allow traffic to come into it.
From west to east.
From it.
So that blocked the 26 intersection.
Yes, it would,
Good.
but they haven't developed either.
Yeah, that plan's been worked on for quite a few
Quite a
years.
few years. Well, it's been a few different plans. The latest one, I believe, is called Wookie Park. We don't get a name.
Does that help you, Kierstan?
In a way, I understand that the development is going to come, but from what I understand, it still is legal to pass on the shoulder. So I'm asking kind of, is there a resolution aside from the fact that things are going to be built up in a few years? Is there any immediate resolution, or do I just need to call someone if I see something dangerous happening, or what are we talking about?
Well, I think you've got Lieutenant Casper on the line right now who can take that back to the deputies that patrol that and just make that a point of emphasis, and see if that helps.
Okay.
Because it is a problem, Kevin.
Yes, and we are taking semi-consistent complaints at the congestion there on honestly all four directions from it. We have done a fair amount of enforcement there and a fair amount of citations because of the length of the school zones, because we have the school zones 3 directions from the Iona and Ammon intersection. And that's, you know, where the bulk of our action has been. The other issue, we've had this discussion with Lance and the traffic safety committee. I would just back this up a little bit in the discussions. We've actually had 4 smaller projects for those school zones, the crosswalks and the crossings that have all each kind of evolved over the last 3 to 5 years. And this body has been supportive that the commissioners in the school district have worked together and with the sheriff's office and the county kind of come up with some small solutions on each leg of that. But I think to some degree, Kierstan, we agree with you that the congestion of the traffic at the intersection is the primary bottleneck problem. The feedback I think we might get about opposed to doing the right turn restriction or passing on the right restriction would be that would potentially delay traffic even in longer stacking effects, which
Right.
Lance could probably speak to the consequences of the stacking. But part of what we have down on 49th North where you're at is the stacking effect. And I think we could potentially add to that problem if we do the passing restriction, but we'd have to look at the traffic counts and probably have a better estimate of that. Do you have any thoughts on that, Kierstan, about the potential stacking issue if we don't allow the passing on the right?
No, I understand exactly what you're saying, but so what times of day are you guys doing the traffic count?
When you talk about traffic count, that is a specific thing where we put out tubes and do it. We have not done a traffic count in this area for a while. So when they do traffic enforcement, that's a different thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the traffic counts, I mean, we're aware there's a problem, and that's why we're trying to get the design done as fast as we can. We hoped to be able to have the design to go out to bid this winter, but I'm not sure because the project is expanded with the bridges and things like that, that it won't happen until next year.
Okay. Is there anything that I can do then personally, just on a citizen level to help anything, or just kind of, I understand that the traffic needs to flow, and I do understand that it is extraordinarily congested, but is there anything that I can do?
Convince all your neighbors not to drive.
Right.
Good luck.
Okay.
No, we're,
Lieutenant, are you still on?
Yeah, this is Kevin. I was gonna say, is it, if I have the name correct, the first name, if it's Kierstan, is one outreach that actually has had a little bit of an impact of actually support for us there that's helped is D93's push of messaging and news through their Facebook apps and stuff, because it reaches a lot of people that are affected by that intersection, especially that parent pickup and drop off problem that occurs in that bottleneck.
Yep.
You might reach out to them and say, hey, you know, you're doing a lot of due diligence here, you know, reaching out and making contact and going after it, and see if they would kind of reformat their message to speak about the safety issues around that, and being careful with the driving to speeds, as well as the being mindful of the students on the shoulders of the road. Another side discussion, just so you know, we used to have students that the cross country kids and stuff were actually jogging up and down Ammon Road. We've reworked that and found different routes for them, using our school resource officers and stuff to try and get as many of the pedestrian traffic minimized as we can, and get some of the kids cutting through the neighborhood instead of working through the intersection. But all those little things have helped a little bit, but I do agree with you, we still have some problems. But one more outreach might be D93 to their news group and say, hey, would you consider formulating the message? Because they reach about 20,000 people each time they've done that. And we believe it's had an impact on some of that, and it might help your discussion, just if you're looking for one more place. So.
Sure, yeah, no, I'm a PTO president, so I actually am in good communication with the D93. So yeah, I can absolutely do that.
which subdivision do you live in?
I think it's called Rock River. It's pretty new.
Just north of there.
Kevin, I have one more question for you. The student that was hit, was he crossing in a crosswalk or randomly crossing?
The foreign exchange student, I don't know. They didn't exactly say where he was at when he got hit. It was just along Ammon Road.
From my understanding, it was at the four-way stop controlled intersection.
That was my understanding as well, Commissioner. I can double check. I don't have the accident in front of me. I was having the same thought, though. I'll try to get you a specific answer. And I'm not sure which leg of the intersection he was on when he was crossing either.
What country he's from?
Not sure.
Bunch of them out there that look left instead of right, and when you go to those countries, you tend to get run over because you're looking the wrong way for cars that don't come that way.
Very true.
Okay. Well, if you have any questions and need updates, just feel free to contact us along the way. And that's one of the things we've got on the agenda for approval is the contract for the design today. So.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We appreciate your help and input.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye. We'll do those approvals while we're waiting.
Okay.
For.
You left.
So there should be 3 documents on DocuSign, 2 of which are MOUs, one with Jefferson County for grinding their wood, one with Teton County for grinding wood, and they're both same price, $600 an hour. And then the third one is the contract with Keller Associates for the design of Iona Road.
Okay.
Separate motions or one?
Okay. And then we'll just get them signed. Everybody.
I move we approve all 3. Do you want them on separate motions or on one motion?
Just one motion.
Okay, I move we approve.
I'll second it.
Yeah. Your action will be when you sign the DocuSign.
Well, it's only you.
Oh, is it?
I'm just looking at them here. Yeah, it's just you.
I thought I had all the that was the claims.
Yeah.
The DocuSign, which I did, Kayla.
Thank you.
Any other
Well,
things?
while we're still waiting, did you get with legal counsel about the Yukon, the 105th parcel, surplus parcel?
I know they called. Were you here when they called in?
No, I wasn't. Well, I was here last Wednesday and you said you were gonna get
They're
with.
gonna annex it all. But
It's already annexed.
okay, I'm pretty sure. we
Transfer
can
ownership.
Transfer that to another governmental entity where it's an unusable property.
Okay, so do you have to declare it surplus first or just transfer it?
We We had quite a lengthy list of legal counsel yesterday, so I just forgot.
Yeah.
That was, I didn't know whether or not to just work on getting the legal to transfer it to them, or if we had to declare it surplus or not.
Okay,
If we need to declare it surplus, I guess we can have Kayla put it on for,
yeah. Okay,
we'll get it.
get us together.
Yes.
Commissioners, this is Kevin. I'm going to leave the meeting. We'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. So what's up? We have plats assigned today?
No, I'll have a plat to sign, but Doyle Beck wanted to come and talk about some of the improvement drawings and the review that I had made on it.
We have, we're ready, almost ready to have the plats done for Jim Lake. There's a couple of issues we wanted to solve before we got there. One of them, the first
Okay.
one,
Go ahead. Because has the plat been through planning and zoning yet?
Yes,
Okay,
in
The
June.
preliminary plat has. right?
so it's the
Right.
second phase right now for you, and they're questioning the standards, so it's appropriate.
okay. That's,
I think the only issue, well, there's two issues that we wanted to try to resolve before we finalize the plans. And one is we have the existing bridge that we're widening in Gem Lake. And we have an additional new bridge that we're putting in. And particularly both of them, there's going to be, a pretty good span. But we have, from the very beginning, we have no curb and gutter, we have no sidewalk. But the typical on the bridge shows additional 5 foot on each side for sidewalk.
That's for safety purposes of any pedestrians in the area walking on the streets. On the streets and roads, they have a chance to kind of get away from things. If they're on a bridge, there's no way to get away from a vehicle that's traveling too close, except to hop over the rail into the canal. So that's why the standards and AASHTO standards call out the additional 5 foot width on each side for sidewalk.
Okay, and I understand that, and I think it would be very appropriate in a lot of circumstances. These lots are acre lots. Very little if any, and it's, very low speed. There's, probably 20, 30 mile an hour speed through the subdivision. And we have the full 28 foot of the bridge surface. So the probability of a pedestrian in the first place to want to use a bridge, coupled with traffic coming both ways at the same time, is
so 28 foot is the
Pavement.
surface width
The surface width of the asphalt, yeah.
of the asphalt.
Mhm.
And what's the driving width that it requires usually?
Well, so a minimum lane width is 11 feet. That's a strike width. And we do have a couple areas where we have a minimum driving width of 11 feet.
So you've got a width of 28 feet on the road. A car can, just thinking out loud here, a car can go through an 11 foot width if you had one.
If you had one and it's striped that way, your car can utilize an 11-foot lane. And we do have a couple different areas that is the case.
and most cars are 7 to 8 foot wide.
8.5 foot wide, most vehicles that's the maximum width for trailers and stuff legally without an over width permit,
I think you get over 8 foot, you need a over width.
over 8.5.
What makes the standards require the sidewalk in this situation where on county roads, there obviously isn't any?
Those are existing bridges.
Well,
As
we
we
just redid a bridge out there on 7th or on 33rd North,
33rd North,
out there on my
yeah,
place.
and it's wide enough for that sidewalk on both
There
sides.
is?
Yes,
Oh, okay, because there wasn't one put in.
There
but
was.
The width.
it wasn't a sidewalk put in, but the width
Oh, now
of
I
it is there.
understand why that's so wide. I've wondered why it was so wide. So that's
That's
designed
because,
to
yeah.
accommodate the sidewalk. So it's that way everywhere. in the
It's
county,
that
rural
way
or-
everywhere, yeah. Anytime we replace a bridge, we follow these standards, and that includes 5-foot sidewalk on both sides.
That's what they did out by my place. Yeah, this last summer. We redid a bridge there.
Obviously, there's plenty of places where that's necessary. But I mean, this subdivision is bordered by the river and by the city sludge application site. There's not going to be, it's not like sometime in the future, we're going to have substantially more traffic. It's limited to the traffic that's going to be there, the homes on acre lots. And there's no sidewalk, I mean, for people to walk down to, they'd be walking on the road anyway. But if you figure that most cars are 7.5, like I said, the probability of 2 cars on the, I mean, then the bridge is 50-foot span. So you're gonna have multiple cars on the bridge going both ways and pedestrians at the same time for there to be a conflict.
Yeah, I get that. I totally agree with you, Doyle, but I'm sure you can see the liability wise, the county can't vary from the standards that are required.
So how much narrower are you requesting?
We don't want to put the sidewalk at all. We just want to put a bridge for,
They don't want to put the 5 foot on either side of the road. path.
it's
So
basically,
it's 10-foot width.
it's additional 10 foot of bridge structure. So that's good, I guess.
It's for a safety purpose. There's a safety aspect here.
Is there a way of getting the safety purpose with a little narrower sidewalk? Not down to just the driving surface, but where you could stripe a pedestrian and say 3 feet and still get a
Width on one side instead of both.
Well, striping doesn't provide any sort of protection for the pedestrians. I mean, if striping happened, then when we have a small shoulder, 1 foot wide shoulder along Iona Road where the students are walking, they would be protected. Striping doesn't provide that protection.
What type of a bridge are you putting in? Is it those that go in segments?
Big bridge is a big steel wide flange bridge.
I guess I go back, is this required by the standards or are we
This is
choosing
required.
this
So
arbitrarily?
in our standards, under structures, it specifically says, now let me read it to you. The minimum width of a bridge structure from face to face of curb to face to face of guardrail or bridge rail shall be full width of approach of roadway, including pavement width and shoulder width plus 5 feet 0 inches for sidewalks on each side.
Including shoulder width also, and then 5 feet?
So it doesn't say that we have to have a shoulder width, but that shoulder is inherent in the 14-foot lanes we have. Because we know the vehicles aren't 14 feet wide. That the remainder of that 14 foot is the shoulder of the road.
That's why I was asking the minimum. So the minimum is 11. So you've
Well,
got 2 to
the
3
minimum
feet for
driving
shoulder.
lane is 11, and then we have the extra width as a shoulder.
Has a shoulder of 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And then you're adding 5 onto that extra shoulder width on the bridge.
Yes.
That's where I was wondering if there's some type of a compromise where you could, you still got your 11 feet, you get your 5 foot walking. I mean, but then you're only talking about shrinking it 2 or 3 feet. Not the 10 feet that you're asking.
I would shrink it by 6 feet, so that we'd have to add 4 feet to the side. To make what you're talking
Don't we have 28-foot surface
about. We
already?
do have 28 foot, so yeah.
We need 22.
22 plus 3 on each side.
And,
What you're talking about.
and a guardrail. So it's not like, somebody's gonna trip over it, because there's no protection if they do.
Timing's off, Doyle.
I mean,
Reason I say the timing's off is we've spent a great deal of time talking about the bridge on Iona Road, right next to Rocky Mountain Middle School. And the guardrails just keep the kids in the road, so the cars have an easier time to hit them. And that's the bridge. I mean, we've talked about that because it's on the plan to get replaced because it's such a hazard for the kids. And I know yours is a little neighborhood.
We can waive the
And there
guardrail
aren't-
too if you want to.
So then they can get knocked in the water. That makes it harder for the firemen to get them back out.
The guardrail doesn't change, though. Your situation you're talking about doesn't change with this rule. The guardrail would still keep the kids. on the
Right,
bridge.
that's a narrow bridge. There's
Right.
nowhere to go. And
But
that's
it's
why
in
we're
here.
talking about, that's why the standard is so important, because as bridges get replaced, we're making them safer so that we don't risk
But there's no. physical
old people and
barrier.
kids.
There's no physical barrier in between the people.
No,
walking
there's
across the bridge and the vehicles.
No.
In any condition. So you're
No.
all right. You're funneling, you've got a funnel point, you're funneling people into a position where they can get hit by vehicles. And that's what Doyle's argument is that this makes a lot of sense in arterial or in high use areas. But you've got a lot of areas out in the county. A lot of very low traffic roads where the availability of two vehicles on the road at the same time is low. And two vehicles, well, there can always be two vehicles, but then passing over the bridge is low, but the passing over with a pedestrian on the bridge is
We've
low.
done the same requirement for Rockwell in the areas that they've gone in, they developed along Higher Road.
And
They
that's,
put in the extra width for the sidewalk.
and it's in their subdivisions.
It is in subdivision,
And
yes.
some of those roads are not that high a traffic because they're just, one of the subdivision roads, not the.
The one of them in particular I'm thinking about is Slate Drive, which is only 3 or 4 blocks long, period.
And they're not 45-foot span either.
That doesn't change what I'm saying about the width of where the sidewalk is.
But the ASHTO, that's,
This is following the ASHTO guideline, yeah.
which protects us from liability.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm hung up.
And there's
Does
no
ASHTO have any other-
leeway in that. There's
What's that?
no
Does ASHTO
except
have any-
when or
I
out
haven't
clause
seen
or dead end streets or.
I haven't seen it. It's just how they design the bridges with the current design standards.
Well, that's a good question though, on ASHTO's. I mean, is there any standards that they distinguish between higher volume and
I haven't seen any, but I can double check. But
I mean, what Doyle's saying makes sense. Why would, although I think a partial safety zone is probably an intelligent thing to do, but I would think that would be addressed in the standards, and I don't know, because I
are
haven't
you
read the
aware of any
standards.
changes or differences?
That allows for
From the engineering
dead end
standpoint,
streets or canals, or cul-de-sacs, or
and the width of the road on the ASHTO side of it, they do have ultra low use roads. The language I'm familiar with, I'm not familiar with the 5-foot diameter because ASHTO does control stuff like the gravel roadways you have back, the Forest Service and different things as well. So I think it's a little bit open to interpretation on some of that, but I know that we've put in recently several concrete bridges on back in gravel roads where there's not been a requirement for a 5-foot sidewalk.
on a gravel road in the Forest Service,
Yeah,
I get that.
but it's still controlled. Really, what I look at more than the width of the bridge is it's the requirement of the responsibility. It's the responsibility of the county or the state or whoever has responsibility over that road. They set the standard and we follow it. So whatever that standard is, we follow it. Then if there's an issue like this, we seek a variance. The bigger issue I'm more concerned about from my standpoint is the HL 93 loading, making sure it handles the weight for the width of the structure you've got. In this case, if we do a sidewalk, we've got to figure out a way to make that sidewalk drivable for an HL 93 load because the vehicle can get on it, but we have to figure a way to keep vehicles off the
because you don't
sidewalk.
have sidewalk across the
Yeah.
bridge.
So it's a little bit challenging, but it's not impossible. It's just, you guys see it yourselves when you drive around.
So is that why on
Single-
state lands, the bridges go from an asphalt bike path up to cement across the bridge with curbs so that cars can't drive on it and they avoid that standard?
Well, the bike path has got to stay away somehow. Well, I don't know on all those cases, but I would imagine that would be the reason. Is
Yeah,
you provide a curb, it's a 35-mile-an-hour bump barrier to keep somebody from driving over top of somebody else.
it's just standard curb, sidewalk across and the bike path goes up to the
But
end.
I'm still curious about in the standards if there is a
And
low
allow for
volume.
There's a low volume standard, but I don't know if the 5-foot sidewalk is in that low volume standard.
Because I'd like a chance to take a look at that, if you could provide it, or if you could, it'd help if you're aware of that, to give it to Lance, and then you'll review that.
I've got it both back.
You know, other than that, I think we've got to go with the same standard we hold everybody else to, you know, unless we can find something in the standard that give us a little flexibility on low volume.
If you can provide that to me, I don't have a copy of that.
So I'll go dig it up and find it.
And I can check with LTAC and Scott Wood too, and see if he is aware of anything.
Another issue. Where's your gate?
Which gate?
Out on Lincoln.
I'm Lincoln.
We got your curb cut in there.
I'll have to talk to my
Yeah.
guy who's putting the gate in.
Yeah, we got all this pressure and we responded. Your guy never, because he wanted to do that while we were doing the curb cut to avoid additional complications.
For security. I can't remember why he was doing that. He was gonna do the gate,
Right.
but I don't remember. when.
Well, I thought we were being pushed so he could do it at the same time, because it was easier to put the returns and everything while we were building. I just got to poke at you.
Just remind him now.
So the rest is up to you.
So we're over here on this bridge using a cannon for a pistol. And now what did you want?
But we're not convinced this is a cannon for a pistol, so that's why
One
we're gonna be
standard
doing
can't
it.
fit all bridges in the whole Putlick County. If it is, we need to redo our
Well,
standards.
that's what we're looking to see, if there's differences in the standards for volume.
They're relying on ASHTO to relieve their liability. So if ASHTO, what they're saying is if ASHTO has an ability to get out of that standard, then their liability is acceptable.
Yeah, and if there is, I would be comfortable with it. I don't know how to put the county in a liability.
The liability of somebody walking across the bridge in an accident with a car on it.
And we build it below standard,
Right.
and we allowed it to be built under standards.
If we don't have anything we can hang our hat on to grant a variance that's in the standard, it says, yeah, this is an acceptable variance. That's what we're looking for. So if you
What
can
about
find-
indemnity?
That doesn't work. They're gonna sue us anyway. You know that. Governments, they figure they got deep pockets and will get named no matter what.
Indemnity with insurance.
And
It
in-
covers your legal costs.
and in 50 years, they're not gonna come dig up your corpse and go after you. So,
No, that'd mean
There's a
posting
bigger
a
probability
bond.
of that
so-
as there is somebody being on that bridge and get hurt.
let us do the research.
Okay. Next item, you want to take?
The fires.
Yeah.
So
I
big,
think that's the only thing we're dealing with, isn't it? Everything else.
yeah, everything else we're good on. So basically, part of this development is the end of Division 1, and then it goes to Division 2. Division 1, part of the original development agreement, didn't require that there were fire hydrants that were up to the standard that we currently use. And so there's not as many fire hydrants in Division 1 as there would be in Division 2. Now, that was a comment that Lance made on our previous submittal. So we just wanted to clarify that's the reason that that's that way. Otherwise, we got to upgrade the line in Division 1.
Well, I made the comment just because I saw the spacing wasn't what I thought the fire marshal would accept. So Steve Sear is the fire marshal. And if there's an exception to the spacing on those fire hydrants, it would be the fire
I
marshal.
haven't seen those yet, so if you want to get them to me, I'll review them.
Got a copy right here. Okay, we'll get it to you.
Because if we're talking existing conditions, we don't typically go back and retrofit existing subdivisions.
So this was in the new subdivision, not the old one.
Because in the new one, I think we did the review and they had them spaced.
This is what he's talking about, though. It's in the new subdivision.
So part of these development drawings is part of the old subdivision, which was originally platted with Division 1, and then part is Division 2, if that makes sense. And so the part in Division 2 has the traditional spacing for the fire hydrants. And then in Division 1, it's different because it's matching the original development agreement for Division 1.
I'll take a look at it.
Division 1 was improved, but all the improvements were never done all the way through, so they're finishing some of 1 and some
I'll
of it's
take a
2,
look at it.
so we can look at it. Yeah,
One was subject to the development agreement for 1.
yeah.
Yeah,
So standard
I'll
two,
go
standard.
back and change it after the fact.
I'll review it.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll find out about your gate.
I'm just giving you a hard time because you gave me a hard time.
You work on
many
this
years
can.
ago. Well, so we're putting up with the width from that curb cut.
There's a movie star over there. Look at him smile, just like he's on camera.
Not me.
Hey, you gonna-
I hate being on camera.
Do you have those
I'm-
drawings now?
You want to look at them?
Yeah.
I'll also just send them
I
to you
just
in
seen
an
about
email.
15 minutes.
Okay, just
You're
sit-
on,
okay, just sit
you're
on
on
the-
the
that's fine.
That'd probably be
I'm more
fastest.
comfortable
Yeah.
out
Instead
there.
of digging to it right now.
Okay.
Hey Doyle, so you're just arguing narrow drive widths, and we should have had that argument when we gave you a bigger curb cut. Was that comments?
There is no slack, none.
Cannons.
Take care, Doyle.
Poking holes in you.
Plus, I've got to talk to you about, I'll send you the email about the well. Did you ever go through that letter from DEQ?
I read it, some of it, yes.
Okay, I'll send you the one from my engineer on the well.
You coming to the meeting tonight?
Yeah, but you tell Gwen, she
Yeah,
said she
she
was calling
texted,
me.
she texted and said if Doyle's over there, will you ask him? Zoom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let her know.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thanks,
See you
Doyle.
later.
What's ASHTO? I wasn't familiar with
It is the national guidelines for, they have highway standards and they have bridge standards and they have, they're basically all about highway design, roadway design.
Consistent with the
How to
city
install
standard
signs, how to
that
put
they're-
bridges in, how to
Is
put
that
safety
consistent with the city
guardrails in,
standards?
all the.
The
Yeah,
subdivision
The city
standards,
American
follows-
Society
yeah,
of
the city
Highway,
follows
bridges.
the actual
Which way,
something,
which way are they gonna require that bridge to be when they annex the subdivision?
Well, there's not a whole lot of time when the city annexes land that includes a bridge.
No.
It just doesn't happen very often. But if the city of Idaho Falls
So
does
the out
put
they
in a
get, the
new
more of
bridge,
them there's gonna be.
yeah, if they put in a new bridge, they follow ASHTO standards too, especially if they're using federal funds. If they're using federal funds or LTAC funds or anything like that, they are required to use what's called the LRFD or
Using
the
their
load and resistance
Bike
factor
path
design.
development fund,
Is there
I
what?
would assume they have to. When they're using grant funds for their bike path development stuff.
Yeah,
They're
they have
gonna
to follow
require
the
that
standard.
because they
Yeah.
need the width for their bike paths.
Yeah,
Still recording. Waiting for-
Yeah, we're not done, are we? We're just waiting for Roger to.
yeah, they wanted to talk about the language for the roadway classification and stuff. So,
Right.
So there's some language that email late last night. Weston, that's all in red.
Thank you.
And Weston felt that that would cover the county. As I read through it, I mean, it sounds fine to me. I don't.
Well, and I talked to Roger about it. He was excited about it. He felt like
Yeah,
you'd really make some improvements with what Weston thought. Have you got any concerns with what's in here?
I don't, I think the concern has to be tested first to see whether we have any holes in it. I can't see anything right off the bat that would say, no, you gotta fix this. I think with Weston going through it and changing it, I think it should cover us in as many cases as I can think about.
You've seen it.
Yeah, we kind of backed off on a couple areas that we didn't feel like the language we were looking at in the first place we could defend. But he came up with, I think, some really good language.
Yeah.
So did you have a chance to see if you disagreed with anything he put in when he?
You know, I had about 10 minutes to read it this morning and I haven't digested it all that well. But in the 10 minutes that I read through it, it's like I didn't see anything that would stand out as far as saying, no, we can't do this, or no, we have to change this. So
You found ways that by not going to the extraterritorial jurisdiction thing,
Yeah.
you know, we're making the rules that we're enforcing on unincorporated areas of the county.
Yeah.
And we're not reaching over and requiring the city to do anything in their subdivision. That's up to them. It's just that there's a set of standards here, subject to Lance's review, that said you have to meet these before we give you an access permit. And also it put the enforcement in there that he can go in and red tag. He can't go in and red tag the subdivision.
but I can either stop the work on the county road or I can block it.
Like
put in concrete
9th
barriers.
and 12th, you know, if they're building up to there, you just go put those barricades up
Till they do the improvements and
until
annex
they
it.
do this, until they do the improvements or annex them. So I'm fine with it. It was about an hour and a half of
Yeah, I have.
wordsmithing, and then I noticed Weston sent it over about 8:30 at night, so
Yeah.
I had a chance to go through it again
Yeah,
and clean it up.
I haven't studied it close, but whatever Weston you came up with, you Lance, you don't have any concerns. I certainly wouldn't be concerned with it.
So I think it's an action item. Approve this language and then we publish it.
I don't see it on the agenda. I looked unless it's posted.
it did not appear to be on the agenda.
As an action item.
It didn't appear out on the agenda at all. And I thought you'd added it to it, but when I saw it, the agenda early this morning, it wasn't there.
Let's get it on for the next Wednesday soon enough. And that gives you time to go through in case there's any suggested changes.
That's my fault probably, because I asked Kayla and I thought that what she had was correct, but so, yeah, that was my fault for missing that. but
It's not like we're on a super hard deadline.
Okay.
This came together quicker than I thought it would.
Why don't you get the clean version
Okay,
and without the red line and send it to Kayla so
Okay.
that she can have it ready for next Wednesday on the agenda.
so clean version of this
Yeah.
section.
Yeah,
Because
be on the red line.
afterwards, just this section and adding a little bit will change the whole document. I'll have to go through.
Just
format
this.
pages and
get the whole thing cleaned up.
This will go into your design standards. then,
Yes.
right?
And then I think we approve it and it goes into effect. All you have to do is publish, right?
Well, I'm not positive. You guys tell me.
Because the ordinance, you have to notice it on there, but I don't know that you have to publish that you adopted it, but I don't think you have to publish the ordinance.
Okay, so once we adopt it, then it's the new ordinance. Correct.
I believe that's the proper process.
Do you have the language and stuff that I need to put in that does that?
I don't, it should be. You should have the design for adopting ordinances, it's state law and how you do it. I don't. We do, our ordinance is different because I have different controls on subdivision or on land use plan and stuff, but for adopting of this type of ordinance, it's a different procedure. They don't have to have the 15-day publication. and stuff.
West.
Yeah. And
Looks good.
I'll let them while we were talking, I was looking at low capacity design. ASHTO does have a low capacity road design standard. for
Yeah, but
bridges.
they're not, well, they probably have design standards for bridges, but I haven't. Yeah, I don't.
Let's just take a look at it.
Yeah, it's specifically.
I asked him if he'd resolved his exit problem with the city. He said, no, I just want the county to write a letter that says this would be Doyle. He said, yeah, I'm having to go say that, you know, this shows this, this shows that, and to get it to a judge, I said, that's, you know, your attorney doesn't want to write that letter. I said, so we're not gonna write it. You know, you have to make your case. Yeah, I said, have you talked to the city and showed them? Well, we haven't done that yet because I'm trying to understand it. I said, well, you better do it because
Yeah,
it's as good as it gets.
no kidding.
I said,
Better get that done.
I said, Stan Hawkins took the city's position against his neighbors and lost. So you can follow that template against the city. So, okay,
They do have a specific section, looks like in ASHTO. I don't have the most current version. One I pulled up was, it came up with 2014. But they do have one in here specifically for low capacity design standards. And it's a 28-foot cross-section width.
okay.
But I don't know what the criteria is for identifying low capacity.
Yeah. Oh, I'll take a look at it. Ask Doyle too.
Anything else?
Is that, I mean, if the standard allows it, if there is an exception,
Then we could make this, well,
is that what we want to do? I mean, or are we putting ourselves in a position that in 10 years, Lance is gonna be telling another set of commissioners that, well, those crazy guys did this.
I do buy his argument that this thing is not going to develop into a major subdivision and you're not going to have any more traffic than you've got designed in there. You know, that the argument with Rockwell is a little different because those subdivisions get pretty busy.
I've just seen a few times when we've gone back, when I've heard from Lance, well, we've got this problem now because of what you did then, because we went, you know, a little bit light.
But need to find out the criteria for what it is, how they define it. And what
And let's look at the criteria, because if that's available, you would apply the same criteria in another situation that's similar.
But we haven't so far.
Yeah, because nobody's aware of the standard.
Criteria.
Yeah,
Yeah, I looked this morning. I was looking at bridges all throughout the county, even in subdivisions, and it appeared most of them had the sidewalk, but that's probably what we've done if there's no other standard that we knew of. So
no, I
Well, even the one on 73rd South that was just put in is wide enough to accept the sidewalk. And there's no sidewalk in the subdivision.
let's just see what the standard says, the updated standard.
Well, you, out in my place, that one on 33rd, there's no sidewalk there.
There's no
never gonna be
sidewalk,
any
but it
sidewalk
is
on
wide
those
enough
roads.
for a sidewalk.
However, a lot of people walk that road. And I can understand the safety issue, you know. Of course, you got a 50-mile-an-hour road too, compared to a slow road, so it's different.
Well, slow is
Slow is relative.
slow is relative, because even if a car is going 25. And the speed limit in the subdivision is marked 25, but there's a lot of people going faster than 25. And out in Doyle subdivision, where it's a wide open subdivision, I bet you're gonna see speeds higher than 25.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to go to you.
There's a bump in the road.
Last
It's a
meeting, they
very
wanted to have
pretty,
kind of like a tentative design for what Iona Road and what's the name? Great, Kent-
Gateway.
Gateway. This is their concept of how Gateway and Pioneer Road would be developed. If you look on, this is 65th on the north. Stafford, Chevy and Honda is here. This is the existing approach that they've now developed that goes into Jackson Hole Junction. The plan is to swing Gateway down through here, go across. This is the location for RC Willey here. And then their plan is to also continue Pioneer down.
When
And basically,
Pioneer connects like this, doesn't it become more of a collector?
it's a local road. We're dealing with just the development of this local area that doesn't tie and go into any place else. The more likely
Isn't
one,
this likely to go down all the way into the actual subdivision?
Pioneer, I think will tie back into Gateway.
Gateway's the one that goes all the way. down.
Gateway's gonna come loop around and then Pioneer will
Well, that's
come
not
up
what
and
this
around.
is showing, right?
well, they haven't shown. the
They
full
haven't
development.
shown the full
But
side
but
of
the design,
Gateway.
design is to bring this in and bring it down to the frontage road down I-15. That's gonna be their
Okay.
primary
And
access.
Pioneer will tie into that. It's gonna loop
Pioneer will
over
come
and
back in
Can
and
they-
become
can
even a
they
more local road
Show
within.
that master plan?
they can. I don't know how soon they're gonna
well,
get there because they're only
talking-
developing
we're
this
are we
piece.
talking RC Willie or Melaleuca or
Okay.
This is,
Frank or,
this is,
This is
or the
somebody else
folks who
over
live in
RC
Woodville?
Willey. This is RC Willey is up here.
and that's Melaleuca.
This is Mellow RC Willie here.
That's what.
So
I was
what you were
wondering.
asking for was to address specifically RC Willie property. We're presenting this because we have a secondary question today, but the design is to bring this in and swing it down. They didn't put the additional design on it because part of this map was for getting an answer to a second question I'm going to present today. But that's the concept design is to bring this as the primary road down.
That's the second question.
The second question is, we have a second property, which there was a short presentation to commissioners before about another facility.
That's this facility.
That's this one. And this is current, Pioneer Road currently is on the dock, on the map, county maps coming down through to here. And they're wanting to get a preliminary assigned address to complete the contracts with this other facility as to what the tentative address would be. So they can complete that other deal project there.
So my reading is right, RC Willie's here then.
Yeah,
Yes,
the building you're seeing on that is the proposed
Is-
building
is the new
for,
Potential
proposed
future.
concept. And we
yeah,
had them put
that
it
they're
there to the
trying to
point
do
where
the
we could see
contract.
where their access points were, so that we would know approximately where their main access would be to assign an address. And it would appear to be like probably 3930 would be the tentative address that would be used for it, given its location. Currently, on this map, there's an existing house that's down at the tail, and it's a 3950 is the address for that. So if we bring it back up this far, it would be about a 30. And it's not a permanent assigned thing, but it's the tentative address to identify the potential sale of the property. And then they would proceed after that with dividing the property out and coming in to find the subdivision plats.
Which could change the address at that point.
Their plan is to still develop. That's why they did
That's their access.
their access will be the extension of the Pioneer Address Road coming down into here. And that's their access point that they want to have as their primary address for this facility.
And this is a screenshot of a set of engineered drawings that have been done on it, so I.
And this coincides with the agreements that they've had between R.C. Willey, because R.C. Willey dedicated additional property because from Melaleuca's property. And then they're doing some adjustments with Cromwell's
Stafford.
and with Stafford to put this alignment in because it necessitates exchanging some of the properties to build the road in this configuration.
Where's the sewer easement?
The sewer easement base right now is coming up
Up the road.
right here. It's right adjacent to the river. So the sewer would basically be located adjacent to or within the road right.
Because that was the original intent.
Yes.
Roughly it was gonna be through there, and that's why they put the sewer easement where they thought the road.
And so the sewer continues on parallel to the river so that any development occurs, it can be gravity fed into
So
the
the sewer goes all the way down into Anco,
Yes,
Yeah.
it goes,
and
Yeah.
the road is intended to go all the way down into Anco.
How much of a gap does this leave us between?
Anco is 65th. So this is 33rd. So we're 2 miles.
That
Is
becomes
the
more than a
overall
local
length.
road if it extends 2
But
miles
the
along. river.
primary
Primary is
The primary will be Gateway.
Gateway.
Pioneer is simply going to be
Pioneer is just a little.
the local road within the development, providing access to the properties.
Pioneer. is
As
gonna-
long as you recognize that if a road is 2 miles long, then it's not gonna function as a local road.
Well, this one will because there's only basically one developer in there. And the 5-lane eventually is gonna be Gateway.
Gateway will
That's
be
the
the
way it
large
was
road.
originally intended. So.
Well, it's a 5-lane road, because that is not what Gateway is
They're gonna-
intended to be
Gateway
now.
is going to be a 3-lane.
Oh, 3-lane.
3-lane.
Okay. It's an arterial.
5-lane road.
And the engineer is aware of that. They've acknowledged that Gateway is the main road. That's how they have the plans.
So if they're planning on putting that 3-lane road in now,
It will be constructed as the projects move forward, yes.
so if they're developing this, it has to be constructed.
RC
Right.
Willey isn't developing that though. So
Well,
this-
RC Willey is developing part, but this is
Part,
another, so
yeah.
they're gonna have to, the portion of Gateway through here should be developed as a 3-lane road.
and that's what's on their improvement drawings, I
That's what they're
believe.
going to show.
That's what they're going to show.
I believe that's what's already shown because
They're
RC
showing,
Willey,
they're showing RC.
was
they're showing
building-
half of it.
I think they were building 26 feet over here just for their half. And they're working with these guys. They've got agreements on this whole entire thing out here. They've still been working through all the land transfer stuff with
Yeah.
everyone, so they don't have anything 100% solid, but that's their proposed plan. that
Just
they
make
gave
sure
us.
it's all included in development.
Well,
Yeah, and it will be.
They're both notified and everything has to be tied down in the development agreement for construction and updating the roads.
So how do you get that address? So they can.
What I did, see, we already have Pioneer,
So typically, addresses come from Road and Bridge, and John Fellows goes through and measures along the road. So if you're asking for a temporary address, not a permanent address, not a real address, but a temporary address, then what you got here probably works, but it can't be used as a club later on saying this is absolutely a
And
permanent address.
we are telling them that. We told them that we would come up with a close approximate address. And given the spacing on this, it should be really close.
And that's, again, if it's temporary, it's probably fine.
So
I just don't want it coming back later on saying, well, you
Just
told
make
us.
it
that-"
temporary.
we'll make it temporary.
Yeah, and we'll tell them when we give it to them, I'll put in the email, this is a temporary address, could be subject to change depending
Just
on
document
future
everything.
place of
you're telling them,
development.
Mhm.
you know, in writing, either email or something, so you can come
We got
back
it,
on
come
these
back.
development agreements and say, you know, here's what you committed to do.
Yeah,
You know, because we can't hold them up until they build the road or.
and it could change. I mean, this is just a temporary preliminary. They're trying to get something to get
Because
under
if they come back in
contract, so.
and reconfigure this and move their approach 30 feet, 40 feet to the
That's
north,
why it's temporary.
that's why it's temporary, because I move it 30 feet to the north, I changed 4 address numbers.
Okay.
4 or 5 address numbers. And then we'll just tell them,
Okay.
we have no choice, we'll have to change.
Consider that one solved.
Okay.
Okay,
Don't over argue.
so
What
anyway,
else?
that's, so you've been asking is how the design configuration, that's what their the gateway is supposed to be and the time.
That's what- This came from Connect, so that's what they provided us. They're working on all the contracts and agreements. They can get the actual improvement drawings, but this is their proposed
So-
design.
So during this too, are they going to actually come all the way up and hook on?
Yeah, they just aren't showing that because a portion of that's already there. But
Well,
that
it
it'll,
comes
yeah.
down in here, right?
yeah, so they're gonna, that's what they're showing there, where that comes off. They'll go all the way out and hook on, and then they've got to do all the traffic lights there, and
Yeah.
that's,
And this is curb gutter sidewalk,
Yeah.
curb gutter sidewalk.
yeah. Yeah, they know all that. It's really just down to semantics of who's paying for what and who's giving what land. And once they get all that figured out, they said they'll give us the improvement drawings, but they've got agreements written up with everyone, so.
That's consistent with what the view was of this whole area when we started.
And Blake Jolly from Connect Engineering, when he started all this, he came in and got copies of the original stuff that Stafford had shown here, so he could make sure they were doing what the original plan was.
Well, I mean, we did the Irwell line with where we thought this Gateway Drive would go, so it'd be close. But with the idea that if something ever changed, they'd still have to have that as an easement, and that dedicate another. So
Right,
I'm glad they're at least staying
And
along.
they're staying there, and I've already got the commitment that they're not gonna put any development right next to the river. Can you keep that as a green space? And where they place the sewer line should be incorporated within that area.
Yeah, because I think it moves over closer to the river to have that. in
It gets quite
the
close,
green
yeah.
space. Yeah. So.
From what I can see, they're complying with their commitment.
I think we should have another city park up there.
that's what we're putting up there. Gonna have an innovation district of our own up there. We're
Were
starting
you in here
on
when I
the-
came in and told them about the conversation I had with John Radford?
No, he wasn't.
He said, yeah, Randy Fife now is saying, you know, we really should consider extending our services beyond the city limits with an agreement to annex. Because what we're
Makes
doing
sense, doesn't
is causing us problems.
Always has.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we wanted to tell Doyle that today, because that's
Oh,
what he, that was our whole agreement that the mayor just nixed and told us a year later. So, I mean, that just,
So is Doyle's stuff out there on city sewer, or is it on?
No,
He's got his own
Or
system.
is the septic tanks that close to the river?
It's not septic.
It's an LSAS. They're back from the river. They have a central subsurface sewage dosing system for the
that's
subdivision.
being designed.
They have an existing one for
Yeah.
Division 1, and they're doing another one for
But he-
Division.
he's still pushing for us to go in and fight the legal fight with the city. We've given him everything he needs. He's just got to get his attorney to understand it. It's Just go look at Stan Hawkins' argument that he lost in court, because that's what the city's trying to do, the same thing. Just chuckled.
I told him, you got everything you need there. You just need to put it, present it.
He wants us to do his work.
You've got the adopted road, you've got the adopted road maps, you've got it listed in the agreement.
When I was on the way out the door and I said, well, you know, we gave you more width than you need to drive. Didn't he say, well, that's the standard?
I
See, that
didn't hear
argues
he say
against him on this other deal.
I didn't hear when he said that, but
Like Jolly was telling me that this project is another project that they tried to put by the Pepsi plant in the city. And the city nixed them 3 times.
Where's the Pepsi plant?
Over here, Old Faithful.
Just past,
Oh, that blighted area.
Yeah, they
well,
decided-
where they pile all the snow.
Where they put all the snow, that's this
What type of,
Melaleuca and stuff.
who is this? Is this the Amazon?
Distribution.
Yeah, so they approached the city and tried to go over there and
I
the
kind
city.
of got that out of Jace with Melaleuca. You know, this is the Amazon distribution. This is a lot better. See, these are the type of developments we want.
And don't tell anybody.
How we
Yeah.
can't. Because the city will be trying to run interference on this like they did with Amazon.
Well, that's,
I'm sure they'll be pumping you.
he
for-
said originally they went to the city and they were gonna do it on that piece of Frank's over by Pepsi, over by Old Faithful. And the city, nope, wouldn't give them what they needed, wouldn't give them the accesses they needed. Same place they
You turn
originally
on
put the Melaleuca building
Yellowstone,
on.
you turn at the big stoplight where Flying J is, and you head east. You got Penford Products, and then you have the distribution warehouse.
Electrical wholesale.
It's the big field between, I can't say, Basic American Foods distribution. Then you got the big field where they pile the snow, and then Pepsi's next to that,
Frank bought that
Off
property.
Sunnyside.
on Sunnyside.
We
You
had,
got Sunnyside, the trailer court's on the south side of the property.
Sunnyside Trailer Bridge,
we actually had
So,
attended an
off
announcement.
McNeil on the other side.
Mhm.
We
That's
actually
one of
attended
the
an announcement over
Identity
there
subdivision.
because he was gonna put his world headquarters there.
Mhm.
We had the announcement there, but the city made us miserable for. That's what started us looking other areas because he was gonna go to South Carolina. And the city was there on the groundbreaking, wanted to take credit for the thing, and then they drove him out.
Then bikes down
And
south of the county.
Same
and that
thing
he
happened
says
with this.
He
this
refuses
project,
to have
like
any
said.
additional of this property annexed
Why
into the
wouldn't-
city.
They wouldn't give them the access points they needed, is what Blake said. but-
Tell them change their name to Costco. They keep anything they want. I'm still sore about that one.
Yeah, so
This access ordinance gives us, it'll basically force them to annex if they want us to do anything.
it's
And then
good.
Fix it. Okay. Already on.
Anything else you got?
Nope.
Let's go separate.
I know this is a separate issue, but Brian said that. I can't remember Frank's son-in-law that's doing a lot of these developments. Devin
Mhm.
was talking about how many subdivisions he's behind.
yeah,
Five.
Shane
I don't know if
responded
it's-
to the Connect Engineering and we talked, Brian and I talked about it this morning.
Oh, did you? So it's
Yeah.
Shane's the bottleneck?
Part
thought
of the
it was the
bottleneck,
assessor.
part of the bottleneck was also Devin in not paying the fees until a month after the drawings came in, so.
Yeah,
And I
There's
love
a couple
going,
different.
I
things there.
love going back and telling him that.
Well, and I think Commissioner Reed did.
Okay.
And
I
I'll be nice.
didn't know if this was a problem we're having over the assessor's office.
Um,
There's other problems in the assessor's office.
I just hope that snake doesn't raise its head again.
It looked like RC Willie just sent some new civil drawings, so if they didn't send them to you, I'll send them over to you when I get back to my office.
Okay,
How many can we cut? Maybe if we cut the tail off first.
So